Hello, class. My first question was the comparison and contrast of the Jim Crow laws as opposed to, or in comparison to the South African apartheid. First, let's start with the Jim Crow laws. The Jim Crow laws were a racial caste system to begin with. They were incorporated um, to oppress or keep oppress the African American people that were brought over during the slave trade to, excuse me, to work for free. The apartheid, I'm sorry, was basically a political and social system, caste system, if you want to, that basically was created to steal land and resources from the native South African um, people. So those right there, that's the difference. With the Jim Crow laws, they were laws to keep the whites and blacks separated from anything from where you eat, where you sleep, transportation, haircuts, schools, hospitals, anything where you would run into or interact with the opposite race. There was a law to prevent this from happening or happening to a certain degree. With the apartheid, the Africans of the land, the native Africans, were only cast out of their land because it was an abundance of natural resources there, from diamonds to soils for good soil for crops. And what the government at that time did was to try and separate, to move out and separate the native Africans. They wanted to keep them separated, not because they were necessarily black, but because they did not want the blacks gathering and causing political upheaval. To take back their land and their resources. Whereas the Jim Crow laws were created, like I said, as a caste system, but to keep them oppressed, to keep them from rising up, to keep them from voting, to keep them from being educated, to keep them from owning businesses, and just keep them beneath them as a people, to keep them a quote unquote second class citizen. So those were the differences between the Jim Crow and the apartheid. Although many of the apartheid laws appear to have come from the Jim Crow laws, which were started 80 years earlier than the apartheid actually started. My second question was the term gay and the use of it as a descriptive word. This is inappropriate in today's society because the word gay is more commonly used as a term for someone who is attracted to the opposite sex. It is very rarely used to mean gay or happy. So to use this word as a descriptive word for something that someone doesn't like or an attitude someone doesn't like, it causes a negative outlook on gay and lesbians. It's a slur. It's an ethnophilism, and it is hurtful to an individual to use it in such that manner. So to say my curtains behind me are gay is wrong. My third question was the how dangerous one story is. To hear one story, to know one story, to engage in one story is dangerous because it's ignorance. It causes stereotypes and prejudices that can ultimately turn into discrimination. When you only know one aspect of a culture, or you take one or a small group of people and determine that this is how an entire culture is, basically causes the ignorance and the stereotypes. And like the young lady said in a YouTube video, which I couldn't tell which one was her name, it basically stated, well, she stated that it's not necessarily that stereotypes are wrong. They are and can be true. It's just that they are only one part of the story, and that is absolutely positively true. It's just like when people say that African Americans love chicken, watermelon, and they're always late. I don't mind the chicken and the watermelon thing, I guess, because that's a true part. I like chicken and I like watermelon, well, fried chicken. But I have a pet peeve with being late. I will literally not be able to function if I am late to an event. Even with my assignments, it gets to the core of my soul. So that's what she means, and that's how one story can be dangerous, because if you create a stereotype that all blacks are late, when you see me, I can be on time, and one will still probably never see me as more than an African American that loves chicken, watermelon, and is late, no matter if I'm never late. Um, so that's why when it causes stereotypes and prejudices, it's hard to look past them. When you see a certain group or a person that you have created in your head or accepted a stereotype that is going around. So it's important and it's to get the whole story. And if you don't know the whole story, then there's Google, there's the internet. We can always find out. It's better to have a multidimensional thinking when it comes to people, cultures, and differences than to only think one way or to have that one story. And the reason it's dangerous is because it causes racial and discriminatory thinking and actions. Thank you.